Hi everyone, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are taking a look at the brand new Beam Mini from Blackstar. This is a very advanced compact desktop amplifier. We're going to kick things off with a performance track that was recorded only using this amp, using the amp models as well as utilizing the post and pre effects. I also used it for recording bass, and as well as that, I used it as an audio interface and also as my monitoring system. So let's kick things off by checking out the performance. So today we're looking at the Beam Mini from Blackstar, which is probably the most advanced and well-equipped compact desktop amplifier on the market. Now, I've had this amp for quite a while. I was involved with the beta testing of it, and I ended up taking it out on tour with me to America, where I was touring with the Brit Floyd. I was using it as a practice amp on the bus, in my hotel, in my dressing room. And as well as that, we were using it for streaming music in the after show. And also, I even managed to use it for a video and recording session that came in for Produce Like a Pro. I had the call to do the session. I thought, I know, I'm going to use the Beam Mini. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So what is the Beam Mini? Effectively, what this is a very high quality Bluetooth speaker with built-in amp modeling and effects. It's really been tuned in to give you a very detailed sound for both streaming music via Bluetooth through the USB and also for your guitar sounds. And it also features this super wide stereo imaging. So even though it's a really small unit, as you can see here, I'm actually moving it, a really small unit, it really fills the room. Now, on board, we have world-class amp models courtesy of Blackstar. We have a selection of models of Blackstar amps, including the Series 1, the St. James, the Artisan. We also have what they call Ampton, which is like legacy amplifiers, classic amplifiers ranging from Fenders through to Marshall, Peavey, Vox and Mesa. So you've got a wide variety of different amp models that have been meticulously worked on. They sound absolutely fantastic, and they will cover a wide variety of musical styles, everything from clean to crunch all the way up to high gain. On top of that, we have a selection of popular pre and post effects. But that is not all. The Beam Mini is the first amplifier that enables you to load NAM captures or NAM profiles, which are neural amp models. Now, I'm not really that familiar with this. I'm a little bit, I'm not going to say old school, but I like what I like. I like amps, and I like certain devices that do captures, and I also like some modeling. I do have Genome. I understand that makes use of NAM captures, but basically what these are hyper detailed captures of amps that replicate the sound and the response, and they will include the amp as well as the speaker cabinet and also the microphones. And as well as that, they can be complex rigs and include any front end pedals. Now, normally, for you to be able to use NAM captures, you would have to use software. They would require a lot of processing power, and apparently they have to be converted. I don't really know too much about this, but they have to be converted to be able to be used in hardware devices, but they've never been able to be used in an amplifier. This is the first amplifier that enables you to use NAM captures. What Blackstar have done is they've teamed up with a community called Tone 3000. That's an open source community. In other words, it's like tone sharing. People are uploading and sharing their captures, and there are literally hundreds of thousands of captures of every single amp that you could ever want to use, and it's all free. And you can download those via the app that works alongside the Beam Mini. Now, I've just mentioned the app. There is a very well-designed app that goes along with the Beam Mini that you can use on your phone. I've got it set up next to me on my phone. You can have it on your iPad. It operates via Bluetooth. Inside, you can really deep dive into creating your own presets, selecting different amp models. I should mention, I didn't mention this, naughty me. We also have Cab Rig with inside this amp, which is Blackstar's IR-based speaker simulation. And we have a selection of different Blackstar cabs, 1x12, 2x12, 4x12, closed back, open back, a selection of mics. We have dynamic condenser ribbon mics. And also we have a new mode, which is in the room, which emulates the sound of microphones in a room miking up a cab. So it's a very natural sound. But within Cab Rig, you can also change your environment. You can dial in how much of the environment you want. You can choose how wide it is and really take advantage of the super wide stereo imaging of the Beam Mini, of the cabinet, of the speakers, and really get a very immersive and very natural playing experience. So for an amp of this size, this has so much to offer. Now, within the app as well, there's an ever-growing community where you can upload and share presets and patches. You can also download signature artist packs. I have my own artist pack in there. There's genre-specific packs. There are song-specific presets, and all of this is free. Now, as well as being a great amplifier with modeling and the capability of NAM captures, also it works as an audio interface. You have a USB-C output that you can plug into your computer, into your Mac or your PC to run with your DAW. You can run it into your tablet or your phone, and also you can run it into an action cam, something like a DJI. I use a DJI, so you can record directly to the card within the camera. When you're outputting the audio from the Beam Mini, it outputs 4 channels. You have a stereo pair, which is the effect sound of your amp and the effects, nice stereo sound. We have a clean DI, and also we have a channel for vocals as well. There's like a shared mini jack on the back that you can plug in headphones, or headphones with a microphone. Or also you could just plug in a regular mic. And the idea of this is that you can use this device for streaming as well. So there's a lot that you can do. There really are sort of listening to the modern guitar players online. You want to have all of your sounds in one place. You want to be able to use it as an audio interface. You can use it also as a monitor speaker as well, and also be able to stream. So there is a hell of a lot that you can do with this very compact and powerful amplifier. Now, as well as really being able to dig in and create your tones and download presets, you can create your own presets and store them within your phone, or you can store them within the amp itself. You can store 5 presets with the amp. And that means that you can just take the amp out, plug into it and play. Let's just have a look at the controls, because as I said, you don't necessarily have to have it running with the app. You could just take this out and plug into it. Also, I should mention the finish. It's dust proof and waterproof. So, you can take it outside and enjoy playing. One thing I should mention, this little bit on the side, this is not part of it. I'm using the little Blackstar Wireless system, which is great and makes a great pairing, so that you have a really portable unit. It's Bluetooth from my device for streaming music and backing tracks. And also now I don't have to have a cable plugged in. On the top, we have this dial here, which is what you turn to adjust different parameters. We have a button here that changes between the different patches. As I turn this dial here, it's going to be scrolling through the 5 patches or presets. It's changing on the app at the same time. We have a gain control, so you can adjust your gain. We have EQ, which is basically a treble control, or like a global sort of tilt tone. If things are a little bit bright, you can darken them, and if they're too dark, you can brighten them up. We got an effects button there, and again, when you turn the dial, that just globally alters a variety of the parameters on all of the post effects. So it's just gradually increasing the level and the intensity of your reverbs, your delays, and your modulation. And then we have the volume control. The effects control doubles up as a tap tempo. And also, if you hold down the volume control, you can access the tuner. Anyway, let's start off by just having a listen. I'm going to control everything off of the Beam Mini itself. So first of all, we have a clean tone. Lovely, rich, clean tone. You can hear that warm low end. If I push the effects button, I can increase the effect that's selected. I think it's a reverb. Yeah. Okay, on to the next patch. And this is like a Fender amp, and I'm just looking at the app. I'm cheating a little bit. As I said, you don't have to have the app connected. You can just load your favorite presets, whether they are using the amp models or the NAND captures, and you're good to go. You can just travel anywhere with the amp. So this one is like a Fender amp with a tube screamer on it. You can hear how dynamic it is when I'm back in the volume. On to the next patch. These are the patches or presets that come preloaded in the Beam Mini. Now we've got like an AC30 style amp. Nice delay. And then we have our next preset. This is like a classic rock. This is using a Series 1. And then on to our final preset, and this is a high gain. Okay, so you can hear straight out of the box, you can really get some cool sounds. Let's dig in a little bit further. Within the app, at the top, obviously you can't see what my thumb or my finger is pressing. At the top, it says high gain. If I press there, that takes us into the presets. You can see it says device. Those are the pre-loaded presets that are on the device when you take it out of the box. Then we have patches here. We have my presets that I made for the demo track, as well as a whole bunch of other presets that I have downloaded. Basically, if you go up the top where the little cloud is, you will see that you have artist, genre, or set list. You've got the most popular. You've got, already I can see like Sultans of Strats. So I've clicked that. That's downloaded that onto my phone. I can save that onto the phone, and then I can save that onto the Beam Mini, or I can save it directly. So there's a Gus G sound, No More Tears. What's Jake Leopard? I think I like that one. Lots of effects, very 80s, but really, really cool. And if you go to the artist section, then you have lots of Blackstar artists, Doug Aldridge, Gus G, and there's me, Jamie Humphries, Six String Alliance. So you can go there if you buy the Beam Mini, and you can download my presets. Okay, so let's now have a look at the layout of the app. If I go to the bottom here, you've got your pre-effects. So you've either got noise gate or noise reduction. You've got filter and compressions. You've got auto wah, envelope filter. And then you've got your overdrive and fuzz pedals. There's a whole bunch of in there. Tube screamer. There's a clon. There's a load of boss style effects. You've got different fuzzes. You've got the old, looks like, the octave fuzz, the MXR fuzz. Next we have amps, and here we can check out the different amp models. If I click there, now you can see we got the St. James clean, the Ampton, which is, as I said, these are Blackstar's own models on classic amplifiers. So we got like a Fender, Artisan, St. James, EL34. You get into crunch, so they're categorized. You've got your cleans. So let's just make sure that we've got no effects on. Turn off everything here. So there's the 6L6. Then we've got the Fender style. Okay, then we've got the Artisan. And of course, you can go in and change your speaker cabinets. At the moment, we got the Artisan 4x12, but we got, I could go and get like an open back 2x12. Moving down, we got some crunch amps. What have we got here? St. James. It's really easy to change the parameters. On the parameters here, on the Blackstar amps, you've got bass, middle, and treble. You've got ISF, which is the infinite shape feature. That's where you can move the position of the EQ. It moves the mid-range around, basically. One side is British, the other side is American. But I can, if I turn the dial, so at the top, you get like a white line, which makes it a little bit easier to do some fine tuning if you find the little buttons or the little knobs a bit tricky to turn. So we got a nice sounding crunch tone. Let's go in and change the cabinet. I'm going to go with the St. James 2x12. Then we have the different microphone options. In the room is a new mode, and as I said, this is the one that gives you that the sound of just having mics set up in the room where the cab is. But then we've got dynamic microphones, so like a 57. Condenser. A ribbon. Oops, we didn't press that. Let's do the ribbon again. Oh, it is on, sorry. Now what we can do also is change how much, dial in more of the room. I can change the cabinet. Maybe I want to go with that classic 4x12. With the microphones, the dynamic or the condenser or the ribbon, you get a little bit more of a direct sound, whereas the in the room, it's not quite as tight, it's a little bit open. We got a modern cabinet as well, like a Series 1. I quite like that cab when I put the condenser on. We can change the width of the ambience as well as the size. That's on large. Maybe I'll set that medium. We can go into the pre-effects. Let's have a look at an overdrive. I think that's like a clon style overdrive. I can add some post effects. We're getting a little bit more hiss now, as you can hear. So I could go to the noise reduction, turn that up, and the hiss is gone. I kind of prefer the noise reduction to the gate. It doesn't choke your sound. It's quite a nice front end effect. Let's go to some post effects. We could maybe try adding a delay. We got a multi-tap delay there. That's really nice. So you can hear how natural it sounds. You know, it's a really, really great sounding models, I think. Let's just turn the gain down a little bit. We could add a bit of compression on the front end. We got a single knob compressor there. If, like me, you have a piezo bridge, all my Music Man Super Sports have piezos on, and in here we have an acoustic preamp. Check this out. This sounds awesome. Now on the cab rig, you've still got the room. I could make the room a bit larger, dial more in. Okay, now let's explore the NAM captures. I'm going to click on the amp selection and scroll down to the Tone 3000 section. And yeah, let's see what we've got. I quite like this amp, this Super Sun Dragon, Super Dragon. Once I've selected the amp, I push the blue button for it to download. That's going to download it to my device. Obviously, from there, I can save it onto my phone, and save it actually onto the Beam Mini. So I'm going to turn off any effects that might be still on, and let's have a listen. Now, like captures, the way captures work, you've got some controls at the bottom here where you can select your input trim, your bass and treble, but effectively a capture is like a snapshot. So you're not going to be altering it, you know, by turning, adjusting the gain or anything. You're not like changing the amp itself. You're just adjusting the input trim and just, you know, adjusting the EQ maybe to suit your guitar. And I can add some post effects if I want to put a little bit of delay on there. That's really nice. That's incredible that I'm getting that sound out of this little amplifier. Let's go back and try another capture. So we go back in again and see what else we've got. There was a nice Marshall, I think, earlier on. That one was a little bit too hot. Some of them you have to be a bit careful with. Obviously, the sound is only going to be as good as the capture, how the capture was done. Let's have a listen to this 1959 Marshall. I've got high hopes. Obviously, the delay is coming from the Beam Mini. We've got different captures within this one capture, if you like. So obviously, two different snapshots of the same amp. If you scroll down here, there we have, where have I gone? There I am. Here's my 6-string Alliance profile. So if you enjoyed the tones at the front of the track, there's a selection of those. Well, all of those tones are there, all the different tones that I use to create that. Let's just have a listen to a couple of those. I've got them here within my presets. If I go to patches, I've got, where's that? The nice clean. There was a really nice sort of ambient 80s style clean. Here's something else that's cool. If you click the little link at the top there, you see the signal chain. And if you press on one of those effects, it will directly shortcut. So I've got a compressor there. If I click it, it takes me straight away. So you're able to see what you've got in your signal chain. So I wanted to get that nice big sort of sumptuous ambient clean tone. What else have we got here? Here's something quite interesting. When I recorded the rhythm parts, obviously everything I recorded to the camera. And but when I was, I double tracked the main heavy crunch rhythm guitar sound, which is the Beam demo riff. That's the tone. Okay, that's that riff that I played at the front end of the track, and also the chorus. That riff as well. I double tracked that, but I wanted it to sound even bigger. So when I was mixing, I called up the rectifier and put a stereo chorus on it so you could get this. And I just sat that in the middle. So you had the wide panned original crunch, the one that I recorded when I filmed, one that I tracked afterwards. And then I added this when I was mixing. So I've included that. We got some lead guitar tones. We've got like an ambient, where's that? I've clicked the wrong one. We've got an ambient lead. So with quite a lot of effects. We have a little bit more of a shred lead, that's solo too. That was the main solo, and quite a lot of effect on that. I do like some stereo chorus. And there was like a Hendrixy riff as well. So that was with the St. James. I've got quite a lot of the cab rig room ambience turned up there. And the other fun one that I came up with was the same sound, but with the auto wah. Okay, so if you like the sound of the presets that you heard, make sure you check out my signature pack of presets that you can download from the community with inside the Beam Mini app. Now, something else that I should mention is that as well as the guitar models, we also have bass models as well. There are, how many bass amps have we got? We've got 3 bass amps. We have the U700 Classic, the U700 Modern, and the U700 Flat. And of course, you can download bass rigs within the Tone 3000 section and download NAM captures. I'm not a bass player, so apologies for this. I have a few different basses in my collection, but obviously I make all my music myself. I do all the drum programming, all the production, the keyboards, and I like to play bass on my track. So this is my bass preamp. I was using the U700 Classic. I did actually put a stomp in front of it. I put a little bit of a valve boost in front of it, and I'm using the 4x10. There is a 2x10 bass cabinet as well. So it's a really nice fat sounding bass sound. Like I said, I'm not a technical bass player. I just play with a pick. My favourite bass player is Doug Pinnock from King's X. Now, something else that I want to mention to you is about some recording that I had to do while I was on tour. I got a call from my friend Warren Hewitt over at Produce Like a Pro, and he was like, can you help me out? Can you play the Stevie Ray Vaughan guitar solo on Let's Dance by David Bowie? And I thought, what an ideal opportunity for me to test out the Beam Mini. Now, I was in and out of venues, living on a tour bus, but we had a day off on one occasion just outside New York. So one morning in my hotel room, I literally set up my DJI camera. I had my iPad with Cubase on the iPad and plugged in the Beam Mini in with the USB-C. So I was using it as an audio interface into the iPad. I was using it for guitar sound. I actually downloaded a Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque tone and then just messed with it a little bit from within the community. I think I went on to like the blues genre pack and found a tone in there. And then obviously using the speakers, because obviously it's a Bluetooth speaker, it's a speaker. I was using that as my monitoring. So I was able to record this solo using the Beam Mini within a hotel and just recording directly onto my iPad.
The serious moonlight.
Now, something else that's really cool, another update that's going to be coming is the Moises stem separation. I have a version of it on my phone, which I can open within the Beam Mini app. But that means that you are going to be able to separate the stems of tracks, remove vocals and isolate guitars. Remove vocals and guitars and just jam along, I shouldn't really say that, I guess, but I would use it for educational purposes to be able to remove the music and really isolate the guitar. So I've been testing that. It works really, really well, and that's going to be coming in a future update, so stay tuned. Okay, so what do I think of the Beam Mini? Well, I absolutely love this. I think it's a fantastic amp. I was using the little JBL. I took that out on the first half of the tour. And whilst the JBL is a good portable solution, I just think hands down this sounds better. The amp modeling is so much better, and obviously having the capability of being able to load NAM captures or NAM profiles just takes it into a completely different league. You know, this is like, I know it's not the same thing. It's like having a Kemper or your Tone X or something. You're loading actual captures, actual sort of digital screenshots of amplifiers. So to be able to have that on a desktop amplifier is incredible. There is a little bit of me that thinks there's, you know, quite a lot of choice. And sometimes I do get a little bit, you know, gear bloated in terms of, oh, there's so many options. So for me, I'll probably find a handful of sounds that work, load them directly into the Beam Mini and just have them on hand so I don't always have to have the app. Something else I should mention about the app actually is that when you go in, actually no, it's down the bottom here. If I click there, you've got all of these elevated jam tracks, backing tracks, and you've got some guitar lessons from my good buddy Lee Fuge, who does guitar lessons for Blackstar. So there's all this other stuff going on within the app that you can really utilize when playing with the Beam Mini. So it's this whole kind of community based around this tiny little amp. But for me, like I said, I'll probably just load on a handful of presets. That's what I was doing when I was in America, and just, you know, practicing the set, streaming the tunes that I was playing on the tour, utilizing the little wireless plug, so that, I don't have cable everywhere. But, I think this is absolutely incredible. I love Blackstar stuff. I've had a great relationship with Blackstar for nearly 20 years. I was in Endorsey all the time. I played with Brian May. I was using Blackstar amps. I did a lot of traveling with Blackstar. I was involved with the launch of their first digital amps. I went out to Japan for them. I love the software. The St. James plugin is one of the best guitar plugins out there. And I'm absolutely a huge advocate for the Amp 2. I have gigged that so much. I love Cab Rig. And now I've got my own portable desktop solution. I can stick that in my suitcase. I've got like a guitar vault where all my guitars go in. I just pop it in there and off I go. You know, living in Sweden, we go up to a cabin in the north, and we're going up there next month, just prior to me going back out on tour with Brit Floyd in America. I'll go up there, sit, go and find somewhere down by the beach, by the lake, let my amp, have my set on my phone and just sit there and practice. I think it's up to maybe 18 hours or 16 hours once the internal battery is fully charged. But like I said, this is an incredible package. So there you have it. Anyway, I hope I haven't made this too convoluted. I wanted to try and include as many of the different options: amp modeling, NAM captures, pre and post effects, audio interface, 4 output channels, the ability to live stream with it. And in the future, obviously, we have stem separation as well. We've got guitar amp models, we've got acoustic preamp, and also we have bass amp models. So, yeah, they've really crammed everything into this, and the price of it is incredible. That's it from me. Follow the links in the description, and if you don't already, please subscribe to the channel. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Blackstar as well for supporting me. This is obviously sponsored by Blackstar, and as I said, they sent me this a long time ago, so I've been really excited to show it off to you guys and create some music with it. Anyway, I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye for now.